Hello everyone, and welcome to Lesson 7 of the Makeblock STEAM onboard course. I hope you all enjoyed the first 6 lessons and are getting familiar with the basics of programming using the fun and colorful MBlock software. As you might have seen by now, there are lots of cool things we can do with programming, so don't be shy to explore further. My name is Riyaadh Mayet from the uTyala STEM Institute, and I will be assisting you today with Lesson 7. Before we begin with Lesson 7, let's have a quick reminder of what we learned in Lesson 6. In Lesson 6, we wrote a program for a penalty kick in our sports event. We also learned about the different sprites, such as the panda, Jordan, the soccer ball, and the cheerleader. We learned what they can do and how they can work together in order to do something. We used programming to generate different ball movement paths. In the first case, the ball is kicked away by using too much force. In the second case, the ball hits the post and rebounds back towards us. In either of the cases above, we needed to figure out what position to make the ball go to. We also learned about 3 new coding blocks. The glide block, which moves the sprite to a certain position in a specific time. In some way, it represents how fast the sprite moves. This is different, of course, from the go-to block, which simply moves the sprite to a certain position. The show block simply displays a hidden sprite, making it visible to us to get there. The hide block simply hides the sprite away, like hide and seek, so that it is invisible to us. In this class, we are going to meet a new friend named Parrot Ghetto. The brave Parrot Ghetto travels the world by himself and looks at the beautiful scenes all over the world. For commemorating his feat to travel the world, the teacher made a documentary film called Parrot's Travel. Ghetto would like to invite all of you to come and watch it. While watching the documentary, I would like you to think about what changes are being made to the background, as well as when these changes are being made. To answer this question, I want you to focus on the edge of the stage area, which is shown by the red circles. A conditional statement is a feature of computer programming that will trigger certain actions only if some specific conditions are met. In the previous example, if the parrot ghetto touches the edge of the stage area, then the computer program changes the background. The words if and then are commonly used for conditional statements. In the program of parrot's travel, the computer will first judge whether the condition of the parrot touches the edge of the stage area is met, and then decide whether it should shift the background. The computer has specialized blocks to make these conditional judgments. Let's get to learning. The main block used for conditional statements is an if-then block, which is orange in color, because it's part of the control category. The function of the if-then block is for conditional judgments, which is to decide whether a specific condition is met. If this condition is met, proceed to execute the sequential action. Another block that is used in an if-then or conditional statement is a blue sensing block, which goes after if. The function of the blue sensing block is to determine what the specific conditions need to be in order for the action to be performed. Here is an example to show you how a conditional statement might work. If you look at the first purple block that says show, the function of this block is to display the sprite. However, if the sprite is touching the mouse pointer, or if your arrow is touching the sprite, then hide the sprite. So basically what this would do is it would make the sprite disappear every time your mouse touches it. Okay, so now we are going to write the program for parrot's travel. The first thing that we need to do to write the program for parrot's travel is to change the background. On the left hand side of the screen at the bottom, you will find the background tab next to the sprites tab. You can click on the background tab, and then you can click on the plus icon, which will enable you to add a different background. For the purpose of this activity, we want to add the grassland, so you can search GR in the search tab on the top left and select the third option, which is grassland 1. Once this option is selected, you can click OK, and now you will notice that the background is changed from white to green in the grassland 1 option. Cool. So now we want to write our program for our panda. So we need to click on sprites in order to go back to our panda. And then what we are going to do is write some code. So to begin the code, we need to go to events and choose the when the green flag is clicked option, because that will enable us to start our program. The second thing we want to do is select a forever loop from the control category. The forever loop will enable our program to run continuously after we click it. The next thing we want to do is to command the panda to do something. In this case, we want our panda to be visible. So we want to see our sprite. So we will go to the looks option or the looks category and choose the show block. We can attach the show block inside the forever loop to begin with. Cool. Now we are going to use an if-then statement to make our panda do different things. So the if-then statement can be found in the control category, the orange one. So we'll choose our if-then statement and add it inside our forever loop after our show block. So in the first part of our if-then statement, we need a condition and then we need a command. So for the condition, what we are going to choose is we are first going to go to the sensing option or the sensing category in order for our panda to sense that something is being done to it. So we are going to choose the touching mouse pointer option. So if our mouse is touching our panda like this, then something needs to happen. So now we need to decide what's going to happen. So what we are going to do is make our panda disappear when the mouse is touching the panda. So to make our panda disappear, we need to go to looks again, and if you scroll down under show, you will find hide. Select the hide block and join it inside your if loop after then. So basically what will happen now is that if our mouse is touching our panda, then our panda should disappear. So we're going to go to the full screen mode now. There we go, the full screen mode. Click on our green flag in order to initiate the program. And then if you move your mouse over your panda, the panda will disappear. But if you move your mouse around or you don't touch the panda, then it will stay there. So this is one of the things that you can do by changing the programming using an if-then statement. In the video of Parrot's travel, you find that not only the background is changed, but the direction of flight of the parrot is also changed when the parrot touches the edge of the stage area. If you want to create the effect of a character moving back and forth on the stage, the blue block if on edge bounce from the motion category can be used. And its function is to make our character bounce when it touches the edge of the stage area. The second block that we can use is called set rotation style. So with this function, you are able to move your character either in a right and left direction or an up and down direction, respectively. If you look at the bottom of the example code on the right hand side, if it is touching the edge, then if it's on the edge, it must bounce, and you're setting the rotation style to be left and right. So this is how you would insert these blocks into a program. Okay, so now what we're going to do is use these two new blocks and the program that we just learned in order to make our panda move from side to side within the stage area. To begin the program, we're going to go to Events and choose the When the green flag is clicked block. That is step number 1. Step number 2 is to insert a forever loop in order to make our program carry on forever. Now, the whole point of this program is to make our panda move from one side to the other side. So to make him walk, we are going to go to Motion and we are going to choose the Move 10 Steps block. Cool. Now, after he moves the 10 steps, because we want it to look like he is walking, we want to alternate between costumes. And so we need a delay between the different steps. And so for this delay, we can choose the wait block from our control panel, our control category rather, and we can change our time to 0.2 seconds. Then we are going to looks and we are going to choose the next costume. So the next costume is basically the next footstep that the panda is going to make. So he's going to make one step, wait 0.2 seconds, then he's going to make another step. Cool. So now we are going to incorporate our if-then statement into our forever loop. And we are going to say that if our panda is touching the edge of our stage area, then something needs to happen. So in order to sense whether the panda is touching the edge of the stage area, we need to go to Sensing and choose the first option and put it in your if statement. However, now this program is different from the last one that we did. We want it to do something if the panda is touching the edge, not if we're touching it with the mouse. So we're going to change mouse pointer option to the edge option. Right, so if the panda is touching the edge, then something needs to happen. So now is where we're going to incorporate the two new blocks we learned about. So we want him to make a U-turn. So for that, we are going to make him rotate, right? So firstly, if he's on the edge, we want him to turn around in a U-turn fashion. So we want him to bounce. Then we want him to stay and move in the left and right directions. We don't want him to be lying on his back or on his stomach. So for that, we're going to choose the set rotation style left-right block and join it under the if on edge bounce block that's in our if-then statement. So now you have the complete program. You can go to full screen and I want you to click your green flag and note what happens to your panda. So as we can see, our panda is walking, and it looks like he has two different views. And when he reaches the edge of the stage area, he makes a U-turn and carries on walking in the opposite direction. Cool. Now, what we are going to do is experiment and try changing different options to see what will happen to our code. Now, if you go under Set Rotation Style, there's more than one option besides left and right. So we're first going to choose the Don't Rotate option, and then we're going to go to full screen, and let's see what happens to our panda. So in this case, the panda is not rotating. So when he reaches the edge of the stage area, he doesn't turn around. He just simply walks backwards. Right. And then we want to try another option. The third option is to change to an all-round rotation. So let's see what this does to our sprite. So we'll click our green arrow once again, the green flag rather. And now if you notice that when the panda touches the edge of the stage area, as he's going to do now, he rotates in a totally opposite direction so that he is now upside down. Now we are going to use all this information in order to write a complete program for Parrot's travel, so that we can make the parrot ghetto do what he was doing in the documentary. The instructions are as follows. You need to use at least 5 different backgrounds in order to make Parrot's travel. You need to use the parrot ghetto as the character. And the third instruction is that you need to design a storyline for your own program once you have completed it. In order to write the complete program for Parrot's travel, we need to understand how to change between different backgrounds. In order to change from one background to another, you can go to the Looks tab and select the Switch Backdrop or Next Backdrop blocks. Now what this does is that it changes the background if a certain condition is met, similarly to how the costume in a sprite changes. So using this and all the previous things we have learned, we are going to create the complete program for Parrot's travel. So let's begin by just cleaning up our area. Okay, so everything is clear now, right? So the first thing we're going to do is add our backgrounds. So you can go to your background tab at the bottom left, click on the plus icon, and I want you to choose any 5 backgrounds. I'm going to choose 5 different ones so that it makes my story interesting. Because remember, the background represents the locations in the documentary for Parrot's travel. Okay, so I have 3. Let's take one in space. 4. And let's take another one, an indoor one, the football field. 5. So I have 5 costumes now. So now we can start to write the program. So we click on sprites, and we're not using the panda sprite in this computer programming. We are using parrot ghetto. So we need to add the parrot. So search for parrot in the search bar on the top left. There's only one option. You can click on the parrot and click OK. Right, so now we have our background and we have our parrot. So we can begin to write our program. So as we have been doing for the other programs, we're going to begin by going to Events and choosing the When the green flag is clicked block. Then we are going to choose a forever block and put it under this and put our code inside the forever block because we want it to continue until we tell it to stop. To make the parrot move from this side to that side, we need to make it move 10 steps. Although in this case it's not actually walking, but rather flying. But it's still moving 10 steps. Right. Now, because the bird is flying, we need to put a delay between the wings. So when the wings are up, then it should wait a little bit of time, and then the wings should go down, and then wait a little bit of time, and the wings should go up again. So for that, we need the wait function from the control area, and we're going to change it to 0.2 because 1 second is too long, and it will result in the bird moving too slowly. Cool. Now, when the bird is moving from this side to that side, we don't want it to look the same. We want it to look like it's actually moving. So for that, we need a different costume. So we're going to choose the next costume block and attach it after the wait block. Cool. So now we're going to use our conditional in order to give instructions to Parrot Ghetto and to give instructions on to when to change the background. So we take our conditional statement and join it after the next costume block. So the condition that we're choosing is if the parrot touches the edge. So how do we write this in code is we need to go to the sensing block to see if it touched the edge, and we can choose the touching block, insert that after if, and we're going to change our mouse pointer option into the edge. Right. So if the parrot is reaching the edge, then what we want it to do is we want the background to change. So this is where we're using our new block. So we can go to looks and choose the next backdrop costume and put it after then. So if we touch the edge, then change the background. Okay? Now what happens when we do that? We touch the edge and the background is changed, but we still need to make our bird rotate. So to do that, we are going to motion, and we're going to set his rotation style to be left and right. We can take that block and add it after our if-then statement because it's not part of the if-then statement. Then also what we need to add is a bouncing function to ensure that our parrot doesn't fly off the screen. So for that, we can choose the if-on-edge bounce function and attach it after the set rotation style. So now we have the complete code, and we can go to full screen mode, and let's see if the code works. So as you can see, when the parrot flies towards the edge and touches the edge of the screen area, the background changes, the parrot makes a U-turn and travels in the opposite direction. So using this, you can make a documentary and tell us a little bit about each place that the parrot visits. You can also try to make it more exciting by adding more sprites as well as more backgrounds. Now it's quiz time. There are 3 questions for you to answer based on today's lesson. Question 1. Which of the programs below can make the character say hello for 2 seconds? Question 2. What condition needs to be met to make the sprite disappear? Question 3. What is the shape of the conditional block? That brings us to the end of Lesson 7 of the Makeblock STEAM onboard course. Don't forget to share images and videos of your work, as well as the bonus challenges using Facebook and Instagram. Please assist us by liking this video and subscribing to our YouTube channel. Until next time, have a blast.